Have you ever caught yourself completely lost in a conversation that never actually happened? You're standing in the shower, driving alone at night, or lying in bed unable to sleep, and suddenly your mind is replaying an argument word for word, explaining yourself perfectly, or imagining that moment when someone finally sees the real you. Your heart beats faster, your body tenses up, and the emotions feel so incredibly real, even though none of it ever took place. If this happens to you often, you're not strange, you're not broken. You're a deep thinker whose mind has been quietly carrying something heavy for a very long time. Psychologists call this mental simulation or maladaptive daydreaming. When it becomes intense, your brain creates these fake scenarios as a way to rehearse life, solve problems, and feel prepared. In small amounts, it's actually healthy. It helps athletes win games in their mind first, and helps creative people solve complex ideas. But for many of us who are highly sensitive and quiet on the outside, this mental habit never switches off. It runs in the background from morning till night, slowly turning into a silent addiction. And here's what almost no one talks about openly. For people with hidden childhood emotional neglect, these imaginary conversations aren't just random overthinking. They are a deep survival response. When you were a child, maybe you grew up in a home where your emotions were ignored or brushed aside. Maybe you learned that it was safer to stay quiet, not to make waves, and to keep your feelings to yourself. You felt unseen, unheard, and emotionally invisible, even though your physical needs were met. So your young mind created a safe inner world, a secret place where you could finally speak freely, where people actually listened, and where you received the understanding and validation you desperately needed, but never got. These weren't just innocent daydreams. They were your inner child's way of protecting your heart and trying to heal the emotional wounds that real life refused to acknowledge. That's why, even today as an adult, these scenarios feel so powerful and keep pulling you back in. Most silent deep thinkers get trapped in three main types of these fake scenarios. The first is replaying old arguments. You go back to moments when you couldn't speak up, and in your mind you say all the right words, you defend your feelings beautifully, and finally feel understood and respected. The second is imagining future success and recognition. You picture people who once overlooked you finally seeing your worth, apologizing, or acknowledging how deeply you feel things. The third, and often the most exhausting, is preparing for the worst. Your mind runs through every possible way things could go wrong, how people might reject or misunderstand you, so you can emotionally brace yourself ahead of time. All of these come from the same root, a nervous system that learned very early that the real world felt unsafe, unpredictable, and emotionally painful. Here's the part that hurts the most when you truly see it. Over time, these imaginary worlds start feeling safer and more satisfying than real-life interactions. Inside your head, you have total control. People respond exactly the way you need them to. You're never interrupted, never dismissed, never made to feel too much or too quiet. But real life is messy and unpredictable. People don't always see the depth behind your calm face. They don't understand the weight you carry in silence. So your mind keeps escaping back into these perfect mental movies, not because you're avoiding life, but because that lonely child inside you is still trying to protect you from the same rejection and neglect you experienced years ago. This is also why socializing drains you so deeply and why you need so much alone time to recover. Your brain has been using enormous emotional energy running these simulations for decades. The quiet power begins the moment you stop judging yourself for this habit. Instead of calling it overthinking or being weird, start seeing it for what it truly is: a brave survival strategy created by a child who only wanted to feel safe and heard. The next time you catch yourself lost in one of these scenarios, pause for a second. Take a gentle breath and ask yourself softly, what does my inner child still need to hear right now? What words did I never get to say back then? That small moment of kindness toward yourself is the beginning of real healing. You don't have to stay trapped in these mental loops forever. The same powerful mind that built these scenarios to survive is now wise enough and strong enough to help you release them and finally give yourself the emotional safety you've always been searching for.